Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday. We had a bank holiday this week, which is Monday off work, so I'm confused as to what day of the week we are. And I had Friday off as well, so I'm doubly confused. Anyway, it is Wednesday, it is the 1st of September, and it is just gone 7 a.m. So I'm getting this recorded early because obviously the stitching I want to do at lunchtime during my lunch break, so I'm getting this done hopefully before I have to start work. So I am starting with Trick or Treat, and this project I worked on for 24 days. I have got notes, but I've left them out of reach. Typical. It was just over 11,500 stitches put in on this. Let me zoom in. Go the wrong way. Always go the wrong way first. And so I finished this page. I had the kind of eaves and the windows of that turret to finish off. Then that little patch of sky and the start of the roof with the round window. So I got that done. Then I made a start on the next page. Got the second capped pediment done and made a start on the roof and the sky, and I was going across like I normally do. But then I decided, why not just go across the whole thing? So I think probably the last week it was a choice between, shall I finish the page or shall I just work across? And with this piece, to get to a comfortable stitching point with my stand and frames, I use the quantum frames with the Monstric stand from Omanic Factory. And actually I like keeping the kind of stitching area in quite a narrow section, so it would make more sense and be more comfortable to stitch if I scrolled more often, which would mean with the pages it's kind of like working on the top half of the page and then scrolling it to work on the bottom half of the page. So I thought it would just be easier if I just work across, and then I'm not shifting things so much. Not that I do anyway, because most of the time it goes between stitching sessions so I can get everything set up just as I want. But it actually gets really difficult to record the stitch with me when I'm getting towards the bottom of that workable area. And there isn't as much space to travel down either, which is why these bits don't really travel down that far. Some of those black lines, the tree branches, could have gone much further. I've had plenty of thread, but I didn't have the working space. So I'm still working in coming down roughly 10 rows at a time, so that's one block on the gridded fabric. And then feathering down just to use up my thread. So Stitch Cook, Sharon, she did an explanation, a really good explanation recently, and that's how I stitch. I pick the next colour in the block in the 10 by 10 square, but I'll work it everywhere that I can that is within easy reach of my stitching area. And I think I explained this on my Stitch With Me with the Stitching Time, that I try not to travel too far unless I'm really running out of thread, and I've still got enough thread to do those last few stitches that are a little bit further away. So that's why things kind of scatter everywhere. So what I did was like, well, yeah, I'll just go across and then it'll be easier. And then also, I'm not leaving this tree for last. I can do this tree. Had to get through the moon. So what I've done is the very tops of the chimney pots, they weren't there before. And the witch is finished. There's another little bat appeared on the moon, and I've done some of the branches and leaves. I'm kind of going across, and what I'm doing is I'm going to bring it down so it's all together in one line, and then work all the way across, and hopefully at some point in the next few months get this row of pages done, which is the second row of pages, so it'd be really nice to get that done. And when you look now over, if you just look at this side, it looks really nice and full up. I love it when it starts to get full along the top. It makes you think you've got so much more done than you have. I have loads to do. There's a lot of blank fabric. We don't look at that, that's scrolled up and never seen. So the next time this one comes out will be in October. And I was debating about moving projects around so that I would be working on this on Halloween. But I think I'm going to keep it as it is. Hopefully I have other plans for Halloween this year. Hopefully I'll be getting back to another project. I've had so many plans what I'm going to do. I think I've got it settled. What I'm going to try to do, but we'll come on to that. So, this is Trick or Treat by Randall Spangler from Heaven and Earth Designs, and it is stitched 1/1 full cross on 28 count easy count fabric by Zweigart. There we go, I think that's all the details. So I'll just switch over projects and I'll be straight back. Hello again, and next up we have a stitch in time, which is being perched rather precariously, so I'll crack straight on. I'm not sure how long this is going to stay up for. So, as you can see, just about, I haven't got it all in the frame. I've done much more of this than it seems because I started in the middle with the intentions of working around that hoop, and to the most part I did. I just got bored of it. So then I started going down the first two columns, I started doing all sorts of stuff, and in the end I'm just going to go back to page 1, work my way to page 1 and then work my way across, which I was doing. So page 1 and most of the way across. Zoom in, there we go. So the last time I worked on it I'd got down to the lady with the sunburn in the window, and I was doing those posters, and that's kind of like the bottom of the page there, so I was very close to a page finish. And again, after working on Trick or Treat, I thought I'm going to go across. This one especially, I like to have a very particular place on the frame where I like to stitch it. Mostly because I look at all that confetti, I'm flipping backwards and forwards to the front and to the back, starting threads, finishing threads. Those flowers, I will be glad to be done with spring. I quite like spring, but oh, these flowers. So that is the top right corner, that is corner number 2. So half of the window, well, 2/3. So across, got that top bit done. Not so many colours from the top go down into the lower sections apart from any flowers. There's also a couple of books there, and Oh, this bit. Come on, zoom in. Focus. Yeah, it's slower. Right, there we go. That blob of colour. I'll zoom out a bit. I might start to notice it's a bird. Oh, there's so many colours. That bit's quite lumpy. So, the cat started. He's just woken up. Where were we? So, I've come down. I'm on the third row block down. I've worked on it for 7 days, and I have managed 3,323 stitches. So, it's a good total. I've managed to hurt some muscles in one day it was my elbow, then another day it was my leg, and now my back. So, I haven't been able to sew for really long periods, but random pains everywhere. Must be the change in season. So, it's getting there, and also during this month I've hit a milestone, according to Pattern Keeper, which I know and trust. But Pattern Keeper told me when I got to 33.33% complete, which is a third. I'm a third done with this, and I'm still on the top row because this bit. So because of that, I've been thinking that maybe a week a month. I mean, I'm doing a week every month. Maybe that's not enough, and maybe if I spent more time on it, then I get it done quicker. So my plans for stitching this has changed. Zoom back in. Because I am not doing page by page anymore and coming down into my books, it's just easier to manage on the stand. So obviously I'm going to be joining up these pages. I've got this massive divider in between each page, but what I want to do is to continue working on this block until I've done the shelf. You can just see the shelf there with the bunny sat on it, the chrysanthemum. There's a grey bit underneath, that's the shelf. So that divides spring above from summer, which is the green shelf. So what I'm going to do is spring ended somewhere in row 2 of pages, not very far. So I'm going to work this side down, get to that shelf, do that shelf, probably drag some colours down into summer. But that's my stopping point on this side. And then I'm going to go all the way back here and do the same. So carry on all these pictures down to the end of spring and the start of summer. And then I'll probably stay on this side. Sorry, and work everything down until the summer shelf's done and I'm into autumn. That's probably about in line with the in here. So not by pages, I'm going by season. And once summer's done on this side, I'll scoot over to the other side and do some on that side. So plans, yay. Also plans for this is I am toying with the idea of giving this one 3 weeks every other month. So alternate with Trick or Treat, really. At the moment, Faces of Fairy's going to get 3 weeks here in September. And I reckon I should be able to finish her because I have about 9,000 stitches left on that, just over. And as I said with Trick or Treat, I got 11,000 stitches done. I think last time I worked on Faces of Fairy, I got 12,000 stitches done because a lot more blocks of colour. I've got some confetti coming up, but there's still a lot of black to stitch. So the aim is I'm going to finish Faces of Fairy in September. Whether or not I take some of the week that I should be spending on the stitching time, possibly. I will also possibly still do my week on the stitching time if I can, as well as finishing Faces of Fairy. So that's my plans for September. And then, yeah, that would mean in October I would try and spend 3 weeks on this. Now, I don't know how well that's going to go, because sometimes just the sheer amount of effort in this one gets a bit too much. But then again, with 3 weeks, I should be able to make some really good progress. So I'm going to try it. I really want to try it. I really want to. Now I'm a third of the way through. I mean, what's the next goal? 50%. I'll be halfway done then. And the confetti is not going to get easier as it goes along, but I will be glad to get done with the pinks. I actually want to get into the greens. I like stitching greens. So as we work down through the season, there's kind of more and more favourite colours. I want to be done with these pink flowers, and I think I will be once I'm through with spring. So these pink flowers have got it in for me. So many colours. But anyway, what's a little bit of confetti now and then? It's better than blocks. Honestly, it's better than blocks of colour. The fabric's probably not helping. The fabric is 28 count Monaco, which is more densely woven than a 28 count easy count. It is actually easier to stitch on 28 count easy count than it is on 28 count Monaco, but I love that Monaco's so firm and not a springy fabric. I really like that. It's not stiff, it's soft. It's really soft, but it's thicker. So, I mean, if you stitch in hand, it must be a lovely one to use for that, because it doesn't flap about everywhere. But the trouble is, because of that, the holes are very small, and so it actually gets really difficult to see where the holes are. So that can be a bit of a struggle. Plus, when there's something that's got a lot of colour changes in it, and you get to some of the sections, it can be a bit more difficult to get your needle in the right place. So, but yeah, I'm going to try it. If I don't like doing 3 weeks a month, 3 weeks every other month on this, I'll just change back to a week a month. I just think spending a more concentrated time on it will yield better results. I'll get it done quicker. I need to get some of these big ones done so I can get started on some new big ones. They've been hanging around for a long time now, this one especially. I just want to get it done. So, to do it, I have to work on it, don't I? So, let me switch to... I should be able to do the other couple of pieces in one take, but let me get those sorted out and I'll be straight back. Right. I think that's it set up. I had a finish this month. This is Raccoon Rabble by Plum Street Samplers. It's just a little small. This is what I'm usually doing at this time in the morning. Working on small projects. And lovely little raccoons. So this is stitched on 36 count, all called for fabric and colours. The fabric is 36 count almond buff from Seraphim Fabrics. they look lovely. Zoom in. This one, you do need to stitch on an even weave fabric because baby raccoon, his face is stitched over one. So, and backstitch. Backstitch and 1/1 is not nice. Also, you can't really see, but the eyes of the raccoons are stitched over one, just so there's 4 little stitches in there. So at some point I shall make it up as a pillow along with all the other things that need to be made up as pillows. So that was just a little quickie. And then we have lunchtime stitch. Lunch hour stitch. This is Bizarre Bookshelf. It is a kit from Gecko Rouge. The artist is Colin Thompson. This is what 3.5% looks like. There is a lot to do. But luckily the whole thing is divided into little bookshelves. So I'm working on the first one, and then I think they're all the same width going down, so I'm going to work my way down through the shelves. There's 5 or 6 of them, and then I'll move across to the next one. But currently this is page 3, and then from about halfway through the blue book goes into page 4, but I haven't done the whole of page 4 because I just worked out where the edge of the shelf is, where the divider of the bookcase is, and then worked to that, and then I'm now working down in 10 row blocks again. Oh, I see, they go further. I was doing colour by colour, but everything was just getting sewed. There was lots of stitches here, there and everywhere, so I just reverted back to my regular way of stitching. So have a little bit, this book's the wrong way round in the bookcase, and you don't do that because you can't see what it's called. So you can just see where his legs and his feet are going to be. There's this book to finish off, there's something there. So this book is done. I'm see by the thread that's still on the needle. This is where lunch finished yesterday, so it's below the 10 row block now, but I've still got thread, so that's what I'm going to do lunchtime today, is work on finishing that, and then kind of come back over with these books. These, as you can see with this colour, it kind of works its way down. So that the page ends probably about there, that's the bottom of the page, but obviously I'm getting to the bottom of the bookshelf, and then obviously when I go to the other one I'm going to work all the way across again to the end of the bookshelf. This one is so much fun to work on. I worked on this I think about 20 times last month, because when I'm not at work, so any holidays we get, I stitch on this in the morning instead of my weekend stitch. So let's hold that, let's get my bit of paper. I did, wow, 4,063 stitches on this last month. That's really good going. So, I mean, I'm doing over 100 stitches each lunchtime. When it's not so much colour changing, I can get nearer 200. I can sometimes get 200 stitches done. So I'm in the blocks of colour. An hour I can get 200 stitches done, which is amazing. It's just because I'm concentrating. But like yesterday I think I did 125 stitches, and it was just like a bit of colour here to fill in some gaps and colour here to fill in some gaps, and so it's constantly changing colours. Anyway, I'll get my bit of paper handy again. This is stitched on 25 count easy count from what I got, stitched 1/1 full crosses. Let's move that one out of the way, and we can see my progress on Nightmare. I've actually put Nightmare onto my stand. This is the Hearthside Craftworks. Hearthside? It's the one from Canada, Hearthside. It's a very nice wooden stand, which is my upstairs sewing stand. And last month I decided to, was it last month? I decided to put Nightmare onto a proper stand, because I'm working on it every weekend morning. I was doing other smalls and samplers, but as a stitcher, I just want to stitch on a full coverage piece. But all this time upstairs, quiet time to myself, and I want to get this done. And actually I thought I want to do Nightmare because it's amazing. Background. So I started back on this one this year. I'd got page 1 done a couple of years ago. So I have actually done quite a lot. Again, background. It's just so much. It's so quick to get through. Because of holidays and stuff. Last week I worked this during my lunch breaks last week, and I was getting 230 stitches done in the hour because of that purple. I have been working on the other half of Barrel's face, so you can see he's got 2 eyes now. They're not quite fully finished. There's still some gaps in there that I will get to. Everything has white outline, so I've been doing that as well. So this is page 4 and 5, and I decided just to work across. Again, everything's going across now and coming down. So what I do is I do a bit of this colour, and then fill in some of the colours here, and then a bit of this colour. I go backwards and forwards. Last month I worked on this 12 times, and I did 5,374 stitches. That is because of background, and it's not because I am some super speedy stitcher. It's because I could grab 1 or 2 lengths of thread and just stitch them, and not just do 2 stitches, tie it off, another 2 stitches, tie it off. It's just backwards and forwards. It's so quick. It's not exactly exciting, but if you're only spending a short time on it, it's doable. So in September, the page ends down, the row of pages ends down here, and I'm getting less background. That's Jack's hat. I want to finish this page in September. Well, this row of pages in September. And then I think, because of my setup, I might be able to do some stitch with me's on this one. I just got to bring everything up. But I should be able to set it all up so that I can do stitch with me's on this one. But obviously, let's get to something that's a bit more exciting than background. We should just have background stitching on us. bring your background, get your background stitched. It's the part people like. People like the least, even when you've got a nice pretty background. So I want to get into the main picture. Background cells. We used to have them on the Heaven and Earth Designs bulletin board one weekend. I think it was one weekend a month. We'd have a background cell. Just for people that are plugging away through constant unending backgrounds. So that's it. That's my main pieces that I've worked on. I'm not showing the progress on the smalls because it's small progress. I'll show them as I finish them. Like that is better. So yeah, that's it for me. I've gone through my September plans, which is the only difference is I'm going to be working on Faces of Fairy instead of Trick or Treat. That is the only difference with my rotation. I will still be stitching this weekend mornings, Bizarre Bookshelf, lunch times. I have some more holiday from work in September. I tend to save it so that I have my holiday when the children are at school, because I don't have children. It's just nice to not have holidays at the same time. All the children are having holidays, which means that people at work with children can use that time, and they don't have loads and loads of children around when I have a break. So it makes sense. It evens out, and it works really well with people that do have children who can kind of balance each other. Although not many people in the group of people that I work with do have children. So it was a great idea, and it used to work when you're that two people wanted a week off, and you don't have to kind of join the melee of everyone wanting holiday when the kids are off school. So anyway, that means during that week I will be stitching Bizarre Bookshelf in the mornings instead of stitching small pieces. I might still try and make some time for some small pieces. I mean, it's just half hour, 45 minutes in the morning anyway. So, is that it? I think that's it. Gone through plans. Hey, so I hope you have a good month. Hope you had a good month. I hope you've enjoyed in the Northern Hemisphere the last of the summer, and I expect the people in the Southern Hemisphere are looking forward to spring and summer. I am looking forward to autumn. And I just wish it was a sunny autumn. It's been so cloudy and grey the last week. Barely any sunshine. And we've still got, the flowers are still flowering happily. The bees are still visiting. We've had several butterflies as well, which just makes a really nice change. The garden's really attracting them now. But soon be time to clean up the garden again. And yeah, that's it really. Could just end here. Okay, let's just look at those. They're awesome. So yeah, that's it. I might have a new small start this month. I'm not sure, because of the way things have fallen. There's some of the smalls I haven't really had much time with recently, so I might just do 2 rounds of what I've got started already, and then have a new start maybe in October. I shall see. That's just a small start. That's not a new full coverage start. I'm not doing any more new full coverage starts until I get more finished, and that's more than just Faces of Fairy. Yay, I'm going to finish her this month. really want to finish her this month. So hopefully at some point there'll be some stitch with me's popping up with what I'm working on. A lot of Faces of Fairy. I'll see if I can do something for this one, and again a stitching time. Oh, I forgot to mention, once things shift around, I'll be getting Death Head Moth out and getting that one finished. I'm also planning for the challenges in the Full Coverage Fanatics group. I fell off the wagon quite a lot with that this year, and it was just finding a way to track things. I was completely stuck. I couldn't get it clear in my head how I wanted to track the challenges. And they've released the challenges for next year, and that got me thinking about what I could do. I have a system now. I kind of tried out last month by unofficially doing the challenges, but yeah, I've got plans. I reckon I can do it. Yeah, I'm gonna do it I'm doing the challenges this month. There's the bookshelf challenges, which I will be doing on. I'll be using Faces of Fairy, Bizarre Bookshelf, and this one before. And then there's history sprints throughout the month, which is just stitching lots of stitches to time with different dates, different years. So that kicks off today, so I'm going to be doing that, and that will be across all 4 pieces because they're all full coverage. And there's usually the Gecko Rouge monthly challenge of, I think they kind of have a goal number of stitches, but basically you set your own goal. So for August, I used Nightmare, and I said I was aiming to do 4,000 stitches. Now at the time I was over here somewhere, and I think I had all this left, and I didn't have any background in that I could see that I would be getting too much, but obviously I got a lot of background in, and I got 5,000 stitches. So now I've got a system for tracking those. It will get a proper full-on test this month, but I'm really sure that it's going to work for the challenges for next year. So if you like challenges, it's just setting goals. It's nothing serious here, it's just fun. Just a way to stitch lots with lots of other people, or stitching lots. There's no points or anything at all like that. So if you like that sort of thing, just hop over to the Full Coverage Fanatics group on Facebook. I think there's some questions that you need to answer in order to join the group if you're not a member already. They're also going to be doing 22 and 22. I did 21 and 21 when I finished Just Be earlier this year. So next year's 22 and 22. I'm going to be doing that on Trick or Treat. I might see how many times I can do, how many projects I can do 22 and 22 on. Could I do it on a stitching time? That would be a bigger challenge. Doing it 3 weeks every other month, and I mean there's time. It's just whether I'm able to do that many stitches, but it's a challenge. We'll try. So maybe I'll do 22 in 22 on 2 projects. Line up all those 2s. I know there's people out there that love that idea. So yeah, so that is it for me now. We've even gone into next year's planning. So have a good month stitching. If you like the Stitch With Me, keep an eye out. They'll be cropping up throughout the month, hopefully with a kind of short intro on where I am with the project and what section I'm going to be stitching on. And stay safe, keep well, and yeah, I'll be back with another update. Wow, the end of September, heading into October. Wow, I'm getting through these months so quickly. I'll stop waffling on now and go. Right, bye.